There are lots of different organizations here in Polk County that cater to children to kind of help keep them out of trouble and engage their minds and keep them learning. Well, one organization that we have never had here on Polk Place, we are going to talk about today. And with us today, we have Stephen Koch. He's the president and CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Tampa Bay. And Deanna Ward, she's the chief development officer for the organization. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So first off, tell me, what is, for those people who may not know, what is the Big Brothers Big Sisters organization?
Big Brothers Big Sisters is really the oldest child mentoring organization in the United States. It's been in existence nationally for about 110 years.
Wow.
And what it does, it provides one-to-one mentoring services to boys and girls who need that, male or female role model in their lives. And so what our organization does is that we accept children into the program that are referred by parents, teachers, guidance counselors, neighbors, grandparents, and so forth, and assess them and approve them for our program. And then we recruit hundreds and hundreds of volunteers to come in and then be matched with these children in these one-to-one mentoring relationships that are set up for a minimum of 1 year. And we provide support and document outcomes and so forth with these youth.
Okay. Now, that's a long time for one organization to be around. That's really great. But how long has the Tampa Bay chapter been going?
Do you want to?
Sure. We actually, next year, 2014, we'll be celebrating our 50th anniversary.
Wow.
We're very excited about it, not only in Polk County, but Hillsborough and Pasco as well. And what we're excited about is that we have so many bigs, those are the volunteers. We call them big brothers or big sisters. And the children in our program, we call them little brothers or little sisters. And as Stephen was mentioning, they spend time together, doing simple things. Maybe it's going outside and shooting hoops or something, or baking a cake, but they're spending time together. And what we realize is when those children are paired with that mentor for at least a year, they do better in school. All of a sudden they have better self-esteem. They have better relationships with their families. And when you think about all the children here in Polk County who have a chance to succeed in life because they have a mentor, it really makes our community a better place to live.
Now, these children who are getting involved or who get involved in the program, they can be from all walks of life, right? It's not necessarily people who don't have a father or a mother in the home or this or that label, right? It's anybody.
It can really be anybody that needs that additional role model and so forth. Now, we do get a lot of kids that come into our program. So I would say that the majority of our kids are from single parent family homes. And with boys, we do restrict the program to boys from families that do not have a male, in the household. The same is not true for girls. There can be a woman in the household for the girls.
Okay. And now tell me about some of the activities that the Big Brothers and Little Brothers, or Big Sisters and Little Sisters, do. I mean, it's not always expensive, right? It's just spending time together.
You're very right. It's not about spending money. It really is about spending time. And we have two flavors of program, we kind of call it. One is our community-based, where the big goes to the little's house. You pick the little up and you do free, low-cost things in the community. In fact, we may host an event. Our agency may say, hey, we're having a holiday picnic or a skating party or something like that. And so we provide those activities. But again, the time you're spending is one-on-one, about 9 hours a month. Again, just doing simple things, going to the park, taking your little brother, little sister on errands, spending that time. The other program that we have is our site-based program, and that's where the big goes to the school or an after-school site, and they spend time at that school. So they actually take their little out of class, and maybe for the first 30 minutes they might, help them with spelling words or math problems, and maybe the second half hour they have, a chance to go outside or spend time eating lunch together. And again, spending that one-on-one time with the child. And in each program, we really ask for at least a year commitment. We find the longer you stay matched with your big, with the big and the little matched together, the better the outcomes. And many people stay longer than a year.
That's great. I'm sure that the longer, the stronger the relationship and the more trust and reliability you get.
Absolutely.
What is the age range for the littles and the bigs?
You know, youth can be as young as 5 years old and come into our program. We accept boys through the age of 14 and girls, I think, through the age of 15. And then they can stay in our program until they're 18 or graduate from high school, whichever occurs last. Some youth do stay in our program a bit longer if they have no one else in their lives, if they were a foster youth and so forth that never were adopted. We would keep them longer in our program. Volunteers, for the most part, are going to be 18 years old and older. And we have volunteers that cover the whole swath of that age range. We do have some bigs that are in their upper 70s and doing a great job. It's just if you still have a passion to want to work with kids and can drive and so forth, you know, you can volunteer with our program.
That's great. Well, how can somebody get involved with volunteering?
You know, it's very, very easy. I think one of the easiest ways is to just go to our website, which are the letters bbsfl.org, and you just hit the volunteer button and you fill out an online application. And then someone from our office will call you and schedule an in-person interview, you know, where we'll, you know, get you started. We'll learn about you, we'll ask some questions, and then get you started on the path to becoming a volunteer.
Do either of you have a little in the program?
You know, we both have been involved in the program. Deanna's little sister actually just graduated from high school. Right. They were matched for 12 years in our program, which I think is one of our longest term matches we've ever had. Awesome. And I'm currently matched to identical twin boys who live in Lakeland. We were matched when they were 7 years old, and they're now 13 and in 8th grade.
Okay. Now, they're identical twins, but you said that it's one-on-one interaction. So do you spend time with each of them individually?
Yeah, you know, my staff had a real sense of humor, I think, when they matched me up with the twins. I had been matched previously with a young boy in Tampa, and we had been matched about 11, 12 years. And because of that experience, I think they felt comfortable with me working with these boys. I've tried to work one-on-one with the boys, and they have come back to me and said, you know, we really prefer doing things together, and so we do that. And I still try to give them some one-on-one time, you know, just talking to them and so forth. But these guys, they really are a team, and so we work with them on that.
All right, that's great. Now, Deanna, you said your little has just graduated from high school.
Yes.
So, do you guys ever have people who kind of age out of being littles and then turn around and become bigs themselves?
Believe it or not, yes. Yeah, the answer to that is yes. We have a lot of people who come back and do that, and even my little sister Charmel, whom I met when she was 7. Again, she just graduated from high school, and she talks about, you know, someday becoming a big. And we have, you know, wonderful stories where people will, maybe they'll see our Big Brothers Big Sisters pin on, or maybe we have a shirt on, and they'll come up to us and say, hey, I was a little in your program,
right,
or I was a big, or I used to work for the agency, or as a board member. So we have that connectivity. We have an awesome story of a former little brother who's now in his 50s, and he called us and said, you know what, I wouldn't be the person I am today had I not had a big brother. He started to get in trouble when he was in high school. His mom signed him up for the program. And so he met his big brother, and they spent maybe 2 years being matched, but it made such an impact on him that, again, now that he's 50, he said he became an engineer because his big brother was an engineer.
Wow.
And we actually had an awesome reunion. They had a chance to meet each other after, 40 years apart. And there wasn't a dry eye in the place because, you could just see the passion and how they really connected. And that's what Big Brothers Big Sisters is all about. We provide those awesome relationships that aren't just when the child is small, but it continues way on beyond that.
We're a United Way funded agency as well, and we do a lot of United Way presentations. And a few years ago, I finished a presentation, and these two linesmen for the electric company approached me and they were really big guys. And I thought, oh, I wonder what they want. And I said, we want to talk to you. And I thought, oh, what did I say? And they said we were both little brothers in the program here, and we just wanted to come up and tell you that it made such a difference, and we're so glad you're doing what you're doing. And of course, those stories, those feed us. Those are the things that really drive us to want to get more kids matched in this program, because one person can make a huge difference on the life of these kids.
Yeah.
And as we said before, it's not about the money, it's really about the time and the relationship and the experiences. A lot of times we find out when we take our littles out for the first time, it's the first time, they've ever been to a beach. Most of the kids that we serve have never seen the Gulf of Mexico.
Wow.
Most of them have never been to a Rays baseball game. Most of them have never been to a movie theater to see a movie. Because in most cases, they're living in families with very little money and they just can't afford that. And so what we're able to do is really show them some of these things, let them experience life, and show them a different perspective in the process of living life, and so forth. And we get unbelievable results. Not right away. This isn't a short-term program. But over time, you're going to see kids' self-esteem goes up. They're going to be feeling so much better about themselves. That brings confidence. And then with that, they're going to also pick up the fact that, hey, Deanna's little sister figured out going to school and getting there on time was important. Staying in school and getting good grades is important. She was the first in her family to ever graduate from high school. And she knew it was important because it was important to Deanna. And so little steps, but boy, huge ramifications, for her life now and the lives of all these kids that we're able to help. So.
Now, the people who maybe want to become bigs, now you mentioned as long as they can drive, it's okay. So you don't need any training or anything like that?
Well, we do. We do provide a lot of support, for the volunteers and the kids and their families, that come into our program. And with the volunteers, we're going to make sure that it's the right person to put with a child. So we're going to do a criminal background check. We're going to ask references. We're going to check you out. We're going to know everything there is to know about you, but it's in a friendly way and it's in a very confidential way. And then we do require training. And then after your match, we also provide additional training opportunities. So if you say, hey, I want to do a little follow-up on working with teenagers, or I need a little bit more information on this aspect of working with kids, we'll provide that for you. And then we're going to give you a go-to person at our agency. And this is one of our professional staff who is degreed and who has the experience of working with these matches. And he or she's going to be the one that you're going to call to say, hey, my little, wanted to talk about this. Is that okay? Or my little got in a fight at school the other day and got suspended. How do I deal with this? To help answer those questions and kind of be their guide, to the process. And then we track results and are going to let the big know and the parents of the little know how things are going, at certain points. The 1-year anniversary being that big point for us.
Well, that's good. I'm sure that gives the parents of the littles a little bit of peace of mind, too, to know that this isn't just somebody who walked in off the street and that you're turning your kid over to them, that, they have been vetted and they're good to go.
You're absolutely right, and we're so grateful to those parents and grandparents who trust us. We have a track record, and again, as Stephen mentioned, we are the premier mentoring organization, so there is that level of trust. And just like we interview the bigs, we interview the children, and we also visit with the families and find out their family life, so they have that comfort level with us. And as we mentioned, we don't just say, good luck, have a nice day. We're there every step of the way to make sure it's a safe and blossoming relationship and friendship for the big and the little.
Yeah, we're there to support the families and not to replace the parents in any way.
That's great to reassure people. Now, do you have events throughout the year, group events? throughout the year?
We do. We have activities for bigs and littles that are fun, and then we also have community events throughout the year where people who want to support us, you know, some people may say, I don't know if I necessarily have the time to be a volunteer, but I believe in your mission and I want to help you reach other bigs and help you recruit them. So sometimes they'll invite us out to their companies so that we can recruit volunteers and let them know the need is out there. We also have a variety of fundraising events that are fun. In spring, we call it Bull for Kids' Sake season, where teams of 5 will get together and get donations from friends and family, and then we celebrate at a fun free bowling party. And so we usually do that in the springtime. And it's great because you have a chance to see the bigs and littles interact. You have a chance to meet staff and find out a little bit more about us. And Stephen, I'm sure a lot of times we have these events and then we end up recruiting more volunteers.
Right. I think once people get to see our kids and get to see some of the matches we have, we always get them, everybody says, how do I go about doing this, and tell me what's involved with this. Because when you see these kids, you realize these are just normal kids, you know, like any other kids. Kids are kids, right? And they come into our program, and what do kids want to do? Well, they want to have some fun, you know. Kids, you know, they like to eat, they like to they like to cook, you know, anything dealing with animals, you know. I mean, there is no shortage of things these kids like to do and be involved in. And you know, most of our volunteers say a couple things after they've been matched about 6 months. One, they said, you know, I feel like a kid again myself because I'm doing things that I haven't done in years, you know, like going to a water park and going down a water slide, you know, at 5,000 miles an hour. The other thing is they say that they feel like they're getting more out of it than the kids. And we assure them that the kids are getting just as much out of it, but we're so happy that the volunteers feel that way because that's very empowering as well.
Well, it sounds like a great organization and that you guys are doing wonderful work in our community. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, if Big Brothers Big Sisters sounds like something that you want to get involved in, whether you want to be a big and volunteer, or if maybe you're a little or you know a child who could benefit from getting involved in the program, you want to make sure that you get in touch with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Tampa Bay. You can log on to bbbsfl.org or call 863-682-5191 and sign up to get involved.